What's going on, everyone? So, Jason Mamoa has officially been cast as Lobo in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow in theaters on June 26th, 2026. So, first off, Lobo is going to be in an on-screen adaptation. I'm excited for that. I'm curious to see how much in depth are they going to go with it, right? Like, I imagine that this is kind of to set up a Lobo story at some point, which, look, I am all for. He is one of the more beloved characters in the DC. But, one, they got to get it right. Two, I trust James Gunn to get it right. And three, Jason Mamoa is probably perfect in this casting role. Now, look, he was excellent as Aquaman, because he looks like Aquaman, right? Just the body of a god, and then the voice of a sea, right? Like, but him playing Lobo, who would you rather see play him, right? Like, I think he just has like the size, the stature, the look, the physique, right? Like, I think that this is going to be, I mean, this is obviously going to spawn into 15 other movies, right? So this is going to end up leading into. But, you know, I'm curious, like, how much are they going to let Lobo kind of off the leash, right? Because he is, you know, in the he's wild, to put it nicely, right? Like, things he says, does, he's just can't be killed, right? Like, I'm curious to see, like, is this just the setup and establishment, right? Like, you know, they did that with these other characters, and then eventually, you know, you get the standalone films, and, you know, Jason Mamoa going from Aquaman in the old DC universe to now James Gunn's DC universe, and one, keeping him around, because, you know, Jason Mamoa, people love Jason Mamoa. He also has the look and aesthetic of, like, 90% of the characters in comic books, right? Like, he literally looks like a comic book character himself. So, like, the fact that he could play Aquaman and then go and play Lobo, and everyone's just kind of like, yeah, that's probably better, right? Like, honestly, like, that's who he probably should have been playing from day one. But him being able to kind of slot in and play that role, I don't imagine that this is just going to be like a small little cameo. I don't think that it'll necessarily be this huge thing, but I do think it'll be something where, you know, this spawns into the actual film, and we'll get his origin story and all that, and then he'll be kind of a staple going forward. Because, I mean, he's kind of one of the characters that they probably should have brought in a long time ago. But the problem with DC is they were all over the place, just bad film after bad film. The hope is that James Gunn can get this right? You got, you know, this new Superman movie, you got this Supergirl movie, right? You got all these films, and they're trying to reshape this universe, and I do believe that they are in good hands now, but it's just like, how long is there kind of like a hiccup period is my concern, because one, you have the superhero fatigue, right? Two, you have kind of this, like, this idea when you see a DC film, right? You're just kind of like, yeah, I'm excited. Unless it's like Batman or something, like, you're just kind of like, okay, you know, it's like DC, Sony, just Marvel did it and did it right. You got to give them credit, you know, whether you love Marvel or hate Marvel, whatever, they did it right. And now you're trying to see DC try to finally right the ship. And I do think that they got the right people in it. And you're seeing these kind of big projects. You know, the Batman 2 just got postponed because they really want to get this right. They really want to flush this out. I'm all for that. That's fine, right? If you want to do that, one, you got to make sure it hits. One, you got to make sure it's right. But I do think that they have the potential to really kind of reshape it. Because also with DC, it's darker, right? You can kind of have this more darker undertone to a lot of these films, right? Like Lobo, keep him as close to the comic as possible, right? Allow him to just run through people, kill all these people, talk the talk, right? Like, you know, just let him be crazy, right? Let him be this just unhinged maniac. And look, Jason Mamoa, playing multiple characters. I mean, you had Chris Evans do it in Marvel, and even in like Deadpool 3, like they poked fun of it, made fun of it. So I think the fact that Jason Momoa going from Aquaman to now Lobo, I don't think will really matter. I don't think anyone's gonna really care, right? Especially now that like the old style is dead and now you're in this new era, right? Kind of what they did with Chris Evans, right? Like, difference is Chris Evans and as the Human Torch, stuff like that. That was something that kind of was like people were very mixed and indifferent, not about Chris Evans, but just like those classic like Fantastic Four films. And then they like remade that one that was like awful with Michael B. Jordan, and then they finally are hopefully going to get it right going forward. But it's kind of a similar thing here, right? Like James Gunn even like made the announcement for the announcement, and then revealed the announcement showing Lobo. Added on that hey, we got Jason Momoa as Lobo. And I'm excited for this. One, I like Lobo as a character. He's been in like cartoon adaptations and stuff, but now we're actually going to have him in like live action on screen, all decked out. You're going to have Jason Momoa portraying that role. And I really think that he is like ideal for that role. I actually think he's more Lobo than he is Aquaman, which I thought he had a good aesthetic and look for Aquaman. But I think as soon as I saw that, I was like, yeah, okay. Like, and I think like weren't there like campaigns not like a couple years ago about that where people wanted him to play Lobo. I think it was Jason Momoa that they wanted to play Lobo. But regardless, I do think that this is a great pickup. I do think that this is going to be I do think that they're headed in the right direction. Right. James Gunn really wants to kind of right the ship in the DCEU. Is it partly too late? I do think that there is a concern of that, right? Because like I said, with the superhero fatigue and stuff like that, and some of these films, even Marvel's films, aren't doing what they used to do. I think a lot of that was just Marvel kind of saturated the market, right? Like it just got so. There's just so many, like, you had to watch series and shows and movies and this and that. And it's like, if you didn't watch these 5 shows, you didn't understand what was going on in this movie, right? Like, it's just, and I think Marvel has even realized, like, hey, we need to slow down. Like, they've even came out and said, hey, we overdid it, right? Which, you can't really knock them for. Every time they made a movie, it made $1 billion, right? They'd have multiple movies in a year that would make, billion plus. So I didn't really blame them, but now you're at this like stage where it's like, okay, well, can this kind of be course corrected, and can DC in particular course correct it? We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out as these come out, as these movies start to move into the direction of release. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? What do you make of Jason Momoa playing Lobo in the upcoming film? Are you excited for that? Do you think like, yeah, he has like the perfect aesthetic, he's great in that role? Do you think like, no, he's, they should have gotten somebody else in particular that comes to mind that you would have rather seen, that you would have rather have had kind of play that role in portrayal? Do you think that DC can kind of be saved and the ship can be right here? Or do you think like, nah, like, it's too long. Like, they'll do good. Like, I'm not saying that they won't do good. Like, they'll make some money, but, can DC kind of live to the scale that, or have the perception that Marvel currently has? Because there's very different perceptions outside of, like I said, like the Batman movies and, the Man of Steel movies and stuff. But anyway, again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.